Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this series of videos we are actually working on the upgraded lab series for Azure Security Technologies or Microsoft Azure Security Certification exams. And if you go to the GitHub and look for the AZ500 exam, you will see the AZ500X is the new series of labs that are available from the Microsoft Learning. And this lab, I thought it was pretty long to combine all of them. So in the previous lab, we have already completed the deploy an Azure virtual machine using Azure Resource Manager template. In this lab, we're going to work on this section, which is about implementing Azure MFA. It's still going to be a pretty long lab. It's estimated about 30 minutes. I hope to be done earlier if we can. But there's several different steps that we need to complete. And it starts with creating a new AZ tenant. Okay, so all we need to do, just like any other resources, we'll go to the Active Directory resource and we'll just create a new tenant. Okay, and we're going to configure our new directory as per the requirement of the lab. So this section is pretty simple, so let's get started. Let me close some tab. So over here you're searching for Active Directory. So as your Active Directory is right there, so you go there. So just like any other resource, you just click on create a tenant. It's going to give you a new window, and we're going to stick to the Azure Active Directory, and then we're going to go to the configuration, and here the organization name is what we're going to use. So let's meet our lab requirements. And the initial domain name, we're just going to provide something, country of origin. So this is important, and we're going to put that United States is good. So initial domain name, say Basu AZ500X. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use. Let's see if it's available. Looks like it is. So let's copy this, because they said that we're going to use this at a later point. I'm just going to copy and just save it in my notepad. Alright, there we go. So once we're done, I'm just going to create review and create and validation pass. So let's just create that account. So that completes this section. Okay, so this is where we have created a new Azure AD tenant. So how do you know that your creation is successful? So first of all, you can take a look at the notification bar and see what is going on. So right now this directory is being created, so it's not done yet. So as soon as this is done, we're going to review this and we're going to start back the lab quickly. Alright everyone, so if you look at the notification, it says the directory creation was successful. So that's how you know that your directory is now created. Now how do you go to the directory? So if you click on this tiny button right here, it says directory and submission. You can click on it and default subscription filter. So click over here. This is also not giving me. Let's refresh this page real quick. Leave page. So let's see if that shows up. Usually that's what I do. I just click on this one, and if the directory is available, there you go. Now it's available. So default directory is what was created when I got the account. Now Basu 500X this is the directory we just created. Okay, let's go to the lab and see what it's asking us to do. So once this is done, it's saying for the next task, activate Azure AD Premium version 2 trial. This is also very important. If you want to use the Azure AD Premium features, you gotta activate the premium trial. So that is the first thing that you need to do. So we have already done that. We have already created the directory plus subscription icon, and it's saying in the directory subscription, click the newly created tenant. So let's go there, and in that blade, in the manage section, click licenses. So over here, let's select this blade and let's see if I have access over here. So if I go there, and so that is the new tenant, and let's see, go to Azure go to which Blade is saying directory subscription with, then in the manage and licenses, so it's manage is like manage, and then licenses is where we want to go. And over here, get started with the license management. So sign up, get a free trial, manage your purchase license, license features. If you go in here, I still don't. Azure AD Premium P2 is what we need. How do I turn it on from here? Alright, so let's see. From here, click on license overview, manage, click all products, and then click try and buy. So over here, all products is where you want to go. Then you create try and buy. Here is where you have the premium P2 license available. My god. So so you kind of remember this step, because this is going to be very important for you to make sure that you can get to this particular step to activate your Azure AD premium license. So again, note that we have activated this license on a different tenant that we have just created, okay, and in this tenant we have activated this particular license, okay. So that part is now done. Let's look at one more thing while we are here. Can we go back to other directory, like our default directory, and can you do the same thing? So if I come over here to the default directory, again under manage, if I go to licenses, under licenses all products, under all products try and buy and free trial, and activate. Wow. So looks like for any directory that you create, you can have this feature available for a month. So now I have just activated this feature for my default account and also for the new tenant that I created, and I didn't really know that you can do that, but it's great that we have done that. So let's change back to the default to the new directory that we want to work on. So let's click on this again, all directories, and let's go back to this directory where we have to do the rest of the lab. So let's come over here. So now we're gonna create some users, and creating a user, if you have done the first lab of this series, we have done it using the portal, using CLI, and also using PowerShell. So here we're just gonna do some stuff. We are to this particular active directory, so we are not missing our own directory. Gonna go to the users, and it should be very clear to you how you do that stuff by now. So over here it's really easy. Add user is a name. So let's start filling in some information. Those are the only two required information. Groups, you don't have to do anything. You need to get the password, I guess. Role, click user and click global administrator and hit select. Alright, so we are, so password, copy that one, or copy from here, put it back. So add user 1, so he is getting this particular password, okay. So the add user 1, so I'm gonna make a note of that this is the user with this password. And if you come down to groups, we're not putting them in any groups, but I'm gonna make this guy a global administrator. So come over here, so you can click on roles, and then here just search for global administrator. So you can select that person, so he's now gonna be assigned the global administrator role. Usage location, we're gonna say United States. Usage location, that is important that you provide that information, so United States. So once that's done, you can copy the value, record the full username. So let's also copy the full username. So if you come over here and you can copy this, so that will copy the full username, and instead of having just this, you can have the whole thing, you know, and the password over here. So we have done up to this point, and we have also recorded the password. So let's create that guy, okay, create that account. So this is done. So you have a user now. So let's do the next user, let's create that guy, that account. So here I have a user 2, you add user 2. Again, he's gonna be in the United States. Let's zero groups, and he's just gonna be a user role assigned. Okay, so that's pretty simple. We don't have to do too much. So we just need to get the password for this guy, put it over here, and then we are gonna get the username as well. Save it and save it. We have that no groups user usage location. We're gonna say United States. That's the only other thing that we needed to do, and that's about it. Just hit create, and we should have another user, and we got it. And back on the users, click bit add third user. Okay, we're gonna add a user 3, and he's also gonna be in the United States usage location, and it just looks like exactly the same settings as user 2, so that should be pretty easy as well. So let's do this and show password, user, and usage location. Let's give it United States, so we get all the information we need. Let's copy the username as well. So let's come over here, then get his password. Let's copy that, and over here. So we got 3 users. Now just say create. So it should create the users. Now when we have the users, now we're going to assign the Azure AD Premium V2 license to Azure AD users. This is also important. Now I think the trial version gives you 100 user account or licenses that you can use for a month. So how do you assign the P2 license? So we're going to go to the all users blade and click an entry representing your user account. Okay, so users all users is the blade. So users all users is the blade. We are already in here. So what do you need to do? On the blade displaying the properties of a user account, click edit on the blade that displaying your user account. So maybe go to an account. Let's see, from here click edit, and once you have, click the edit button. In the settings section, in the usage location, select the United States entry and save. We have already done that. Okay, my user account. Okay, so my user account means I have not selected my user account. So let's go back to users all users, and this is my account. From here edit, and let's usage location. Where is my usage location? And make sure that I have United States assigned. So that's what they're asking us to do. Save this. So that's great, we have done that. So we have finished that. Now navigate back to that user directory, and in the manage section click on licenses. So go back in here, and here under the manage section, okay, this is the license blade, so click on that one. So here it says no license assignment found. So here we're going to click on the license assignment in the next next step. So here we're going to click on the assign and click users and groups, and we're going to assign all 3 user 1, 2 and 3 to have this license available to them. So assignments, select licenses. This is like a new step to me. Let's see, review these options. Azure Active Directory Premium P2. When a user has both direct and inherit license, the only direct license may be removed when you uncheck a license from the box inherit license. So this is something I have not done. So let's see what is going on. Maybe I'm going to get rid of all these and just keep my Azure AD Premium P2 license assignment failed for some reason. So let's okay, so now I'm already have the license. Okay, that's good. So come back over here and read what it's saying one more time. On the assign license blade, click users and group. Assign licenses blade. So let's come back over here. I think I have to go to the premium. I have to go to this feature. So if you need to add, you gotta go to the premium P2 blade. So once you activate this, a new blade is available to you. And so if you click on it, you will see this feature should show up. Where is my feature? Azure Active Directory Premium P2. Let's go back some. I'm just gonna delete some stuff and see if I get this premium premium P2. Come on Azure, help me out here. All right, let's go back to our Active Directory. Why are you? No, we are in the right direction, so that's good. So I'm trying to see where is my premium P2 license in here. Licenses. Get started with the license management. Users and groups. Let's see. Click licenses. Click all products, Active Directory, then click assign. So we are here, all products. So Active Directory Premium P2. Now we have the assign. Okay. So it took a little bit of time for us to figure out how to go there. So I want to do this step one more time. So the way we did it, it's kind of maybe a little bit complicated or confusing. So to get to the premium license, what we did, we came to our Active Directory. So this is the Azure Active Directory. Okay, so if you are lost, you just search for Azure Active Directory. Okay, you click on it, you go there, and since this is a special feature, you are going under the licenses blade. Once you are in there, okay, you are gonna go to all products. From the all products, you're gonna select the Azure Active Directory Premium P2, and you see one is assigned to myself and 99 is still available. You click on that, and in this one, now you click on assign. Now you're gonna see, click on the users blade, and now here you're gonna select user 1, user 2, and user 3. So all 3 users you have now selected. Now just say assign, and then all 3 users should show up in here. Okay, so licenses have been assigned to 3 users. So if you refresh this, there we go. It sometimes takes just a little bit of time, so don't get frustrated if you don't see it immediately. But now all of these guys, they have all of the premium P2 feature enabled for them. Okay, so let's go back. So we have done that. So we have assign. Okay, sign out of the Azure portal and sign back in using the same account. This step is necessary in order to license assignment to take place. Okay, at this point you assign the Azure Directory Premium P2 license to all users account you will be using in this lab. Be sure to sign out and sign back in. So what they're saying at this time, since we got a new license, so let's sign back out. So sign out and then just sign back in. So that will enable our privilege identity or premium P2 license. Okay, so let's go back, and I'm afraid it's probably gonna ask me to do something else. Maybe no, it didn't. So we have enabled this account, but we still have not enabled our multi-factor authentication or anything like that. So we are done with this step. So now, so think again what we have done. We have created a new tenant. Okay, in that new tenant we created 3 user accounts. Then we went to the license section. Okay, from the license section, again let's go back to Active Directory. From the license section, what we did, we went to the license section, and from the license section we went to all products. We clicked on try and buy, and we clicked on the Azure AD Premium P2, and we clicked on the free trial, and we activated this. So it gave us this new Premium P2 feature. And then what we did, we went to this particular blade and we had to click on it. It's a lot of clicking to go to where you need to be, and then we clicked on the assign to assign all these users to have this license available to them. Alright, so that's where we are. So now we're going to configure MFA, multi-factor authentication, for user 1. So how do you do that? In the Azure portal, navigate back to this directory, and in that directory, in the manage section, we are going to click on the security. Okay, so let's go back, make sure we are in the new directory. Okay, we're going to go to the Active Directory, and security is where we need to be. So let's go back to the Active Directory, and under here manage, you gotta go to security. Sometimes it's very easy. Here it's not even giving me an option to search. A lot of time they will give you an option where you can search for the particular blade that you want to go. So let's click on security, and here is my MFA. So again, remember this step, what you just did. You had to go to the Active Directory, then security, then you have come to the MFA section of it. Okay, so now you gotta click on the MFA, and we're gonna click on the multi-factor authentication, and then getting started black and additional cloud-based MFA setting. Okay, so from here you just click on MFA. That's gonna give you a new blade, and you have use MFA to protect your users and data. And again, remember, there are many ways to deploy MFA with Azure AD. The best way to use your Azure MFA in the cloud and apply it to your users using conditional access. So that's the recommended way, additional cloud-based MFA setting. Okay, so but in this one, what they are asking is to go additional cloud-based MFA setting. So we're going to click on that one. So it's going to take you to a new blade. It's opening up. So once you're here, multi-factor authentication setting, we are just going to set up what kind of verification option we're going to use, and then we are going to save the setting. So let's see, let's come back over here to the lab. So let's see, so we are here. So this will open a new browser blade for multi-factor authentication page. So we have done that. We have confirmed we have a new browser window, and on the multi-authentication, click the service setting tab, review the verification option, note the text message to phone, notification to mobile app, and verification code from mobile app or hardware token are enabled. Click save and then close. So it looks like everything, we don't really need to do anything. So you can look at either service setting or the user setting. In this one, in this case, they ask us to look at let me make sure that review verification, the service setting tab. Okay, so that's the tab they have asked us to look at. So so this is for the users, allow users to create app passwords, and do not allow. So you really to enable multi-factor authentication for everything, you just need to be on the service setting tag. So that's another important thing that you need to remember. This is the default tag, looks like where you are in. All three are by default. Enable call to phone, for some reason Microsoft probably not supporting anymore, it's grayed out, and you just say save. So as soon as that's done, the admin user account that I'm using, I will have to use a multi-factor authentication as well when I try to log in next time, or any users, right? So let's go back, switch to users tab. On the add user one entry, click the enable link, and when prompted, click enable multi-factor authentication. So looks like from here what we just did, we enabled the service level for the multi-factor authentication, and now we're gonna go back to the users tab and we're gonna enable the multi-factor authentication for one particular user. So let's come back to our Active Directory, go to users tab, and we're gonna enable the multi-factor authentication for this user. So you can click on that one. You have a multi-factor authentication option here. Let's see if I click on this. Yeah, so it gives you, and I can click this particular user, and we can just say enable. So make sure that's what they wanted. Notice the multi-factor authentication status column for add user is now enable. Switch to user one, click entry, and click the enable link. Okay, so they are doing it in a different way. So let's click on this one, and let's see I have a MFA setting enabled from here as well or not. Consent, I don't see a MFA setting right here. Control F, MF, I don't have any MFA in here. Let's see, multi, let's try again for multi, where is multi? There's no multi. No, multi-factor authentication is over here. So edit setting usage. No, it's not here. So I'm gonna do the way I know how to do it. Okay, so over here what I'm gonna do, I'm click that user, click on the multi-factor authentication, and we'll come over here, click on the add user, and here's the enable state and enable multi-factor authentication for that particular user, and say yes. Okay, and that's pretty much, that's about it. So let's go back over here, refresh this page. I don't know if it's going to display anything anymore on this particular blade. Multi-factor authentication, just do it multiple times. It's a little confusing how you do it, and I don't know why this process is kind of complicated. From the license assignment to this, seems like could be the workflow could be better. Just my own opinion. Alright, so we have done that. So we have enabled the multi-factor authentication. Notice that multi-factor authentication status column for user 1 is now enabled. So I'm not seeing that column. So let's go over here one more time. Let's go back to we need to go to the Active Directory. Let's go to Active Directory users, and I do not have that column available. Maybe columns. Let's click on the column names. I don't have that as a column at all. So it's so I'm trying to think if there's any other way you can see that it's enabled for the users. So let's click on that one more time, and I'm just hunting where to see the that MFA. I don't see it from here. So the other place that we went to the license, all products, premium P2. No, we didn't go there. So come back. We went to security to get to the MFA. So guys, please remember these steps. Getting to the MFA is a little bit so let's go to the Mfa Blade. So we have already done all that. Conditional cloud, we have also done that. So this is not gonna show you what we have. Let's click on the users one more time. Now here it is. So now this user, if you see, so what we did from a service setting standpoint, we have enabled the MFA. So if you want to enable MFA, you can enable for everybody. But right now, since we selected this user and clicked on enable, this status, multi-factor authentication status, is now enabled. But we have not enabled any other users. Okay, so that's, remember this. So you come to the security to get to the MFA. Once you are in the MFA, you go to the service setting to enable the MFA for your enterprise-wide everything. So we did that. Once you did that, you go to the users and then you select all the users that you need, or you just click on all of it. You can also do bulk update, and it's let you update a Excel file or CSV file and just enable if you want. So now we know what they wanted us to do, so we have done the enabled status. Now note that at this point you also have the enforced option. So is there an enforced option? So let's take a look at it. If I have the enforced option so I do not see any enforced option, I only see an enabled option. So let's go back and see what are they asking. So enable multi-factor authentication for all users, so we have done that. Click, note at this one you also have the enforced option. I don't have our enforced option, at least that we didn't see, so we come over here. If I click on add user again, here is what they're talking about. Okay, so the multi-factor authentication for this user is now in an enabled state. If we want, we can disable this or we can enforce it. So that's what they're talking about. So that option is also available to us. What that means, if you change the user status from enabled to enforced, impacts only legacy Azure Active Directory integrated apps which do not support Azure MFA. And once this changes to enforce, it require the use of app password. Okay, so from your standpoint, doesn't matter it's enforced or enabled, users will require multi-factor authentication next time they try to log in. Okay, now for the user one, we're gonna go to the manage users and settings and review the available options. Okay, so let's see manage users and settings. So it's coming over here. If you click on here, I have 3 different options that we have. So what can you do with it? You have require selected users to provide contact method again, delete all existing app passwords, and restore multi-factor authentication on all remembered devices. So if somebody lost their device that they used previously to authenticate, if that person has lost and they want to re-enable the authentication, we can use that feature. We can delete all the existing app password if we want, if there is a business reason. Request selected users to provide contact methods again. Maybe we just have a policy that in every 3 months we just check and make sure that all the latest email address and everything is completely up to date, and that is going to do that for us. Now here we're just going to click cancel and switch back to the multi-factor authentication getting started Blade. Okay, so it's over here, we're just not doing anything, just hit cancel, and then we are gonna go back to multi-factor authentication getting started Blade. So we are back in here again. And again, remember how to get there. Active Directory, then security, then multi-factor authentication. If you click on it, you're gonna be landed into the getting started Blade. So we're here. Now we wanna set up a fraud alert in this section. So in the settings, click on the fraud alert. So over here, there's the fraud alert. You can click on it. So you are now in the fraud alert Blade. And what the lab is asking, allow users to submit fraud alert on, automatically block users who report fraud on, and code to report for fraud during initial greeting is 0. So what you can do, this you turn it on. So if somebody reports a fraud, Active Directory is automatically going to block that account. It's just gonna consider this account is either compromised or someone is trying to compromise this account. Let's lock it. And code to report fraud during initial greeting is 0. Okay, and then you save it. So that's your fraud alert setting. How you do that? So again, remember, To set it up, go to your Active Directory, go to Security, go to Multi-Factor Authentication. Under Multi-Factor Authentication, you have the Fraud Alert Blade under Settings. Remember these, how to get to some of these places. Alright, so we have done that. And now we're going to validate our MFA configuration. Okay, so we're going to open another Azure window in a private mode. So let's open a new private window. So here I'm going to go to portal.azure.com once again, and what it's saying, navigate to the Azure portal and signing as this particular user account. So this time we're going to go get the user account details, go to our private window, and then let's get the password again. Let's get this password and let's try to log in. And what you're gonna see is gonna ask for, this is the first time that we're gonna see it. So this is the window that you see when you have the multi-factor authentication enabled. Your organization needs more information to keep your account secure. Yeah, okay. So you do next, and is gonna ask you to select your country and region, authentication phone. So here you're gonna select United States, and let's see, you can use one. A phone number. Let me think about my phone number that I use. Hold on. Alright, I think I got a number that I can use. So let's see if that's the right number, and let's see if I get my text message on that one. Alright, I think we got the code, and let's verify this one and see if it's working. There we go. And this is something new in some apps like Outlook, Apple, and this and that. You can't use a phone. If you can't use, you can use the app password. So copy that one and just save it for later use. We most likely we will not be using, but just save it and then just say done. And now you should be able, or now we have to update our password again. So let's get what I want. I want to use a standard password. So let's go over here, go to our desktop, go over here as the parameters. So JSON file, let's try to open it. Open with something. Come on. Open with RStudio. I don't want that. I just let me from here maybe open that. It's just opening in RStudio. Okay, let's just give a second. It will open up the file, and all we need is really this password. That's all I needed. So copy, just get rid of it. Don't want you RStudio. So this is the password we're gonna use. So come back. Man, I opened 3.1. So let's come over here. So this is the password we're gonna use. Sorry, this new password. Get the existing password, which is this. Go back, put it over here, sign in. Okay, that's fine. Stay signed. Yeah, stay signed, no problem. So now we have set up the multi-factor authentication for this particular user, and he can now log in to my account. Okay, let's see. Let's now go back to here and go back to our lab. So now we have we have logged in. So we have already done that. More information required. How you can use the phone. We have verified everything, additional security page, KPI setting, and all of that we have done. And now we can sign out as the add user and close the infra private browser window. So let's do that as well. So over here, maybe later, let's log out, sign out, and just close this account because the lab says so. All right, so excuse me. So what we have done, again, remember your steps. You went to Active Directory, then security, then MFA. From MFA, okay, so let's go back to security one more time. And then MFA, okay, from MFA we clicked on additional cloud-based MFA setting configure. On that particular phase, let me close out a whole bunch of this that we have opened up. From here we went to the service setting, allow users to create app passwords to sign in, and then verification steps. So this we said save, it just created this multi-factor authentication for all users enterprise wise. Then we went to the users and we enabled this particular user, and note that when we did, it was in an enabled state. Once this user tried to log in, it went through that authentication process where we have registered a phone, and now the status has changed to enforced. Now for this particular user, multi-factor authentication is enforced no matter from where that person is trying to log in. So now in the next phase of the lab, we're going to implement the conditional access policies. Okay, so conditional access policy allows you to define some conditions. Maybe you already have a very secure intranet, so if that person wants to log in to your resources within intranet, you do not really require a multi-factor authentication, because that person must have gone through several other authentication process and authorization process to get to your network. So in this task, we are going to configure a conditional access policy and test the policy. So how do you do that? So configure conditional access policy. Again, you're going to go back to the Active Directory blade that you have created and make sure that you are in that particular AD directory. So that's fine. So again, we're going back to the security section. Okay, and this time instead of going to the MFA, we're going to the conditional access. So again, remember these two, because this two is a little confusing how you configure. Do it multiple times if you're practicing for the exam. This is where I would expect a lot of questions regarding how you configure conditional access, how you configure MFA and all that type of stuff. So again, let's come back to, again, I'm gonna stress on this and I'm gonna saying that over and over again so that you remember. Again, we are back to the Active Directory blade. So you are on the overview blade. You still need to go to the security. So under security, you have both conditional access policy, like under protect, you have the conditional access policy, identity protection and security center. And then over here as well, under manage, you have identity secure score, named location, authentication method, and MFA. So MFA we have already looked at, and this time we're going to look at the conditional access. So click on that, and you are now landed with 4 of these policies. These are baseline policies, but note that none of the policies are enabled, and you cannot even use that. These policies are retired. So if you click on it, you cannot even delete that, but you cannot even use them. Okay, so these are a legacy experience which have been deprecated. They are no longer being enforced, can't be enabled, and will disappear from Azure portal soon. So do not even try to use any of these baseline policies. You gotta create your own new policy for the conditional access. Okay. So with that, as I said, we're gonna create a new policy, and we're gonna call that policy at AZ500 policy 1. So let's go over here, click on new policy, and we're gonna call this policy as AZ500 policy 1. So once, there are a few things that you really do when you create a new policy, and the policy control user access based on conditional access policy to bring signals together to make decisions and enforce organization policies. So you define a name, then you say, okay, this policy, this is the name of the policy, who am I going to assign it? You select the user and groups, you select the cloud apps and actions, and then you assign the conditions, and after that your access control, what kind of grant, and you can also have the session where you can define some more stuff. So let's see what this lab is saying. So in this one, they're saying, okay, let's use user 2 and then select. So this time, although we have enabled MFA for user 1, we're going to work on user 2 this time and see what's going to happen. Okay. So let's go back, users and groups, and select users and groups. So all users and groups, it gives you a new window, and we're going to use the user 2 for this purpose, for the testing of the conditional policy. Okay, so now we have this particular user we have selected. Okay, so now come back on the cloud app. We're going to use Microsoft Azure management. So that is the Microsoft Azure portal. So from cloud app, we're going to select cloud apps, select apps. Okay, then now select, what are you going to select? It's a Microsoft Azure management is what you're going to select. Okay, so then click on select. So, and make sure that you are not locking yourself out. So since we're using only one user, okay, so here we have only selected one user, so we should be good. My account, the account that I'm using, the main account, owner account, should not be impacted. Okay. So make sure of that and select conditions, then click on sign in risk. So the conditions could be based on multiple things, and so there are so many different things that you can set your conditions based on user risk, sign in risk, device platform, locations, client apps, and device state. So this time we're just going to use the sign in risk is what they're saying that we want to use. Sign in risk. Review the risk level but do not make any changes and close the sign in place. So they're saying, yeah, okay, look at it but don't do anything, just close it. So let's look at it. So sign in risk, you can configure. If you say yes, then select the sign in risk level with this policy. You can say, okay, if the sign in risk is high, okay, then this policy is going to be enabled. Okay, but this lab they're saying, yeah, don't do anything, just look at it and then just close it. So let's do that. You have unsaved, that's fine. Then device platform, again review and then click done. Locations, review and close it without making any changes. And then on the Mfa Blade, we are going to do the require multi-factor authentication checkbox. So again, this is another way how you do the multi-factor authentication. So as I said, multi-factor authentication is a little bit confusing topic. So let's look at couple more options. If you look at device platform, let's look at what kind of stuff we have. So if you want to configure that, you can configure this for any device. You can select, like when the user is maybe joining from a Windows Phone or Windows machine, Mac, you don't trust, you want to apply some policy, or you can exclude. Okay, if it's coming from Windows Phone, they must have gone through some known process and you don't want to apply this conditional policy to this. You can also do that. We're not doing anything. Locations, you typically would use, if you trust some location, you would do configure, and you are gonna look all the trusted location, and then you will have to configure the trusted IPs in a different area. You can also do exclude. So select, if you already have some area defined, so you can select your trusted IPs and say, hey, MFA trusted IPs, this IP range, you can exclude this policy. But right now we're also not going to do anything, so let's close. Let's say okay. We didn't want to close up that far, so we're gonna apply this to select users and groups, and we still want to apply to user 2. Select cloud apps, we want to apply this to selected apps, and select apps, Azure, Microsoft Azure management, select this app. So we are good. Conditions, we have looked at sign in risk, device platform, locations, and where we want to do use is the Grand Blade is where we are going to look at access control under grant. Here if you click on it, here we're gonna say yes, require multi-factor authentication. Okay, and then we say select. So now this is saying one control is selected. So that's all we needed to do. And enable policy, I think you gotta change it to on. Enable policy to on, so it's being enforced. So let's click on it and say create. So now you have a new policy. Look, this state is on and it's being applied to only one user, and for that user you have now enabled multi-factor authentication as well. Now I'm pretty sure the next section we're gonna test that. All right, so we are done with this. So note, you get an error. We have not received an error, so don't worry about it. At this time, you have conditional access policy that requires MFA to sign in to the Azure portal. So only one thing, the difference between this MFA enablement and the other one, here we have enabled the MFA for only for the Microsoft Azure portal. So that user, if they are using and trying to connect to other resources other than Microsoft Azure portal, your MFA is still not enabled, right? So for user one, we did that everywhere. Anytime they want to access anything, they has to go through the MFA. For this one, we have a condition. Once you want to access the Azure portal, you gotta go through the MFA. All right, now again we're gonna test the conditional policy. So again we gotta open up our private window. This is not it. Private window, and let's do a portal.azure.com. if we might be still logged in as the other user. We are not, which is good. So let's get this user and test whether it's asking for multi-factor authentication. So let's hit next and let's get his initial password. So that is the initial password that I have. So let's provide the password, sign in. Once you sign in, yeah, so you see this this message, you need more information. That means it has to go through the multi-factor authentication now. Before I do this, one other thing I want to quickly check, and well, yeah, quickly check. I can do that from this window. So where I want to go, I want to take a look at that user and see the status before I do anything else. Okay, so if I go back to security again, go to MFA, and then additional cloud-based MFA setting. I want to take a look at that user. So let's go to users. So even right now it says disable. So whatever we did, we enabled multi-factor authentication for user 2 using a conditional access policy, but in this window it's still saying disable. So let's now try to log in, and again I'm going to use United States. So that's the phone number. I'm gonna send a text message and I need to get the message back. So let's try to log in as my Gmail account, and once I log in, let's see if I get the alert. Where is my alert? There we go, alert. There we go, there's the SMS I just got. Let's get the verification, copy, close this, I don't need it anymore. Go back to my private window. So let's paste this and let's verify. So that is going to verify my account, and it's going to enable my multi-factor authentication for this particular user using the conditional access policy, right? So what I want to do at this time is, again, so what is the current password? Let's finish it up. So this is my current password, right, for that particular user. What is the password I want to use? I want to use this very secure password. So let's go there and say cancel. Okay, stay sign in, yeah, no problem. So now we have logged in to this user, so we have now proven that your conditional access is working as expected. We're gonna come back to this one just in a minute. Just take a look at our app. So we have done all of our testing. So keep using your existing application and click done. Change the password, sign out as Azure user, and close the in private window. Back to the Active Directory tenant, manage section, click on security. In the protect, click on additional access. Okay, so they are going somewhere else. So let's now go back. They're saying we don't need that. We have already proven that we have created my multi-factor authentication. So just sign out of this account and get out of this window. Okay, so what they're saying now, next, come back over here in the manage section, go to security. In the manage section, go back. We are already in security. So in here, getting started, in the protect section, click conditional access. So go back to the conditional access over here, and what is it they want us to see? In the click ellipsis next to this policy and click delete. When prompted, then confirm. So they're saying just get rid of this policy. Okay, you don't need this policy. So one additional step that I want to check right now is what's going on with this. So I'm going to refresh this page and see if there is anything happening to this particular window. And if you look at it, no, it's not showing up. So this is again a very important thing to understand. Although now you have enabled multi-factor authentication for this user, whenever that person is coming to the Azure portal, okay, this stays multi-factor authentication status is disabled, because this feature does not know that this user has a multi-factor authentication only for a particular service. Okay, so that is the big difference. So if you want to enable multi-factor authentication everywhere, you go here. Okay, you go to your Active Directory, security, MFA, then service settings, then users, then you enable it from here just by clicking enable. If you want only conditional access, you go to the protect, then you create a conditional access policy, you define your conditions, you enable your MFA from there. You have still enabled the MFA, but not everywhere, and this multi-factor authentication status in here would still say disable. So again, it's a little confusing, but do this exercise by yourself multiple times and be comfortable what you're learning in this lab. This is a critically important lab. It's very important that you understand. All right, so we have done all that. So they're saying, okay, we're done with this policy, so let's get rid of it. We don't need this, so let's delete this policy, and that policy is now gone. And the next is going to be the implementing the Azure Identity Protection solution. Since this is going to be another kind of long lab, let's finish this lab right here, and let's meet with you all in the next video where we're going to go over the identity protection. So again, one last time I'm going to talk about MFA. So there are two ways really that we have gone over where you have enabled the two MFA. The first one, you went to your Active Directory. From there you went down to the security. From the security you went to the Mfa Blade under manage. Okay, from here what you did, you went to the configure additional cloud-based MFA setting. It gave you a completely new browser window. It lands you in the service settings. You enable that, then you went back to the users, and from the users blade you select the user and you have enable the status of these users, okay, to be enabled. Like you just click on it and it will enable the multi-factor authentication enterprise-wide anywhere the user goes and tries to log into any resource. The other way we went to the conditional. So we are in the security. Under protect, we went to the conditional access. We have defined a new policy. Under the new policy, we named the policy. We selected the users or groups that we want that policy to be applied. We selected one particular app. We defined a condition. We really didn't define a condition. We could have. Then access control is where we really enable the multi-factor authentication setting. Okay, this is one very important area. Remember again, grant is where you have granting or not granting. So here you grant access with multi-factor authentication. That's what you enable. All right, hope you have learned something. Please do this lab multiple times, and if you're preparing for the exam, good luck. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with friends, and please leave a comment if you see that there are ways that I can improve this lab for all of you. Hope you are learning and enjoying cloud as much as I do. Again, thank you for watching. Have a great day.